need to leave therapy immediately.
Says the man who is possibly in need of some kind of mental health help more than anyone who has ever fucking existed. Cause seriously, you don't sit around making videos with your top and pants off, showing your frankly deeply unimpressive physique, screaming at strangers that they shouldn't do a thing that is probably most likely to result in them being a well-rounded and happy individual, unless you yourself are a deeply unhappy person trying to make the world as miserable as you are.
There is nothing more destructive to the male psyche than sitting down and complaining and crying about your problems.
Well, that's like the opposite of true. I mean, let's ignore the attempt at shaming people by calling therapy crying. Have you ever been to therapy? Obviously not. Otherwise, you would understand that the vast majority of it is simply a conversation, not someone barely holding back tears, ranting about the world and how they are so hard done by it. That's your thing. But no. What is incredibly destructive to any psyche, male or otherwise, is holding in every single issue you're having, never talking about it, bottling it up until you fucking break, usually resulting in some incredibly damaging and very, very unhealthy choices in their attempt to deal with it.
To somebody who has their own problems, which they do not even disclose to you.
Oh, what's that? You have problems, therefore you can't possibly be a deeply experienced professional who gives good, actionable advice. That's like saying an aerospace engineer can't possibly build airplanes because they personally don't have the ability to fly by sticking their arms out and running really fast. Expertise and personal failings are almost entirely unrelated, but the fact that a person might have gone through the same thing as you, well, wouldn't that be positive in this situation? Especially if they managed to sort it out in the end. You dumbass.
They sit there as if there's some godlike individual who doesn't have their own mistakes, aren't arguing with their own wife, don't have their own bills to pay.
Oh God, the irony, it burns. You are literally sat by a pool, almost completely naked. Absurd God complex on full display, attempting to project the essence of what I think Jimmy Carr once called a 14-year-old's idea of what a man is, doling out terrible fucking advice based on something you clearly don't understand. It is really quite something. You're there for your therapy. Can you imagine you pay someone to help you with your problems and they spend the entire time telling you about how their partner never takes out the fucking trash? What exactly would be the point of that?
And you sit there trying to elicit sympathy, elicit understanding.
Of course you're disgusted by the idea of empathy and understanding. Aren't they just the worst? Can you imagine people giving a shit about each other? Wouldn't it just be awful? No, everyone should be as self-serving and narcissistic as you are, Andrew. I'm sure that would make the world so much better. Me. But again, no, you don't know what you're talking about. People who go to therapy often don't think they deserve either of those things. They regularly go to figure out what's wrong with them, only to discover that they are just like everyone else and are deserving of respect and love, just like everyone else, present company excluded. And it's fuckwits like you that make them think that they don't, unless they present this ridiculous caricature of being a quote-unquote man.
Automatic submission to some idiot with a piece of paper, a PhD he got from a bullshit university.
Automatic submission? The amount of people who change their therapists multiple times before finding one that, clicks with them puts paid to that idea, matey. And I guess you are the expert in bullshit universities, Tate, considering your promotion of your own. What was it, Hustlers University? I don't think you even get as much as a piece of paper from completing one of your courses. The only paper involved is the paper money that the person wasted to learn absolutely nothing except how great you think you are. And if it is such bullshit, go and get one yourself. Show the world how easy it is to get an advanced psychology degree. I'm sure you won't crash out immediately upon having to actually fucking learn something.
Therapy in and of itself is destructive to your ability to take control over your own life.
Again, as a general rule, that is the absolute opposite of reality. Now, I do want to point out that not all therapy is created equal, and if you go to the wrong person or wrong treatment plan, it can do more harm than good. I'm not saying it's a perfect panacea with zero faults, but the idea that it hasn't helped countless people do exactly what you are pretending that it can't is fucking wild. And the only reason I can imagine you would recommend they don't is to prevent them from being able to recognize you for the toxic shithead that you are.
You are dulling your sword. Because you're complaining that your own sword might cut you.
What a fucking bizarre analogy. Clearly one designed to evoke an image of violence, but riddle me this, fuckhead. What makes you think someone couldn't run you through with the pointy end? Or bash your brains in with the big metal stick it now is? Your inability to be effective with the tools that you are given speaks of your failure to improvise, not the inherent problem with the tools. Now, obviously, it's a faulty analog anyway, because the point, get it, is to not need to use your sword all the time anymore, since there are literally infinite other ways to deal with problems, other than resorting to cutting people. As if that makes you so much more of a real man. Fact is, the man that resorts to threats and violence is the least effective man possible.
But it's your sword that cuts your enemies. That's the exact point. You're denying who you are. You're denying all of the things that made you you.
What are you talking about? Do you think that the only thing that makes a man is his use of pointless fucking violence? Ironically, the sword in this idea is probably blunted from overuse, as you swing wildly at doors in front of you instead of just using the fucking handle to make actual meaningful progress, and leave yourselves the ability to close the damn thing behind you if you want.
God gave you all of these difficult situations so that you could challenge yourself and you could find the best way to navigate them and stay sane.
Well, aside from the fact that God doesn't real, I mean, really, the idea of an omnipotent being giving a shit about what you are doing with yourself at every given moment, or even any given moment, is patently ridiculous. Bro, you really are not that fucking interesting. The fact is that bad situations come up all the time, and sometimes those situations are more than one person can deal with on their own. If there was a God, what makes you think that maybe the test isn't, hey, dipshit, ask for help? Teamwork is a skill. It's literally the reason you're able to sit there lying to children on the internet. Every single thing that allows you to act like the entitled dipshit that you are was produced by many people working together. The myth of the man on his own fighting against reality itself is so fucking absurd that only a literal child would believe it's anything to aspire to. No man is an island for a reason. Except for you. You're the trash one in the mid-Atlantic.
That is why God gave them to you, so that you can become a better version of yourself. And instead of learning lessons, instead of being thankful to God for the difficult things he's put you through, so you can be a more resilient individual, you instead go and cry to some human.
Of course, the classic, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger bullshit, when in fact, what doesn't kill you can leave you physically and emotionally devastated to the point where your life will never ever be the same again, especially when you refuse to let anyone fucking help you. Because of course, therapy isn't just the kind where you talk to someone. Occupational therapy is also a thing. You know, the kind where you learn with much time, patience and effort and the dedicated assistance of another person or even team of persons, you can work your way to becoming, if not necessarily 100% of what you were, a good deal stronger than you might otherwise end up being. But no, of course, it would be so much better if you were just stuck in a bed for the rest of your life to prove some asinine point about your sheer manliness. Do you know how pathetic that would be?
To some fallible creature complaining about how something happened 21 years ago. A therapist doesn't have a fucking time machine.
Oh, thank you for your great insight, Nostradamus. We all had no idea therapists don't have science fiction MacGuffins. No wonder they don't claim to. And the help they provide has nothing to do with literally changing the past. The ironic thing about your sheer stupidity and ignorance on the subject is that you're assuming that solving your problems on your own is any different from getting help with them anyway, when it's often literally the same thing. If you can get over your issues on your own, that's fucking great, good for you, probably save you a few bob to boot. But some people can't, and that's okay. It's not a sign of weakness to put the work in required to make your life better. It is, however, a sign of profound stupidity to believe that if you can't solve it by yourself, that you shouldn't even try to find another way. If anything, it is decidedly unmanly to be so worried about what other people think about you for trying, so that you stay intentionally miserable forever. What's the point?
And they don't try and make you feel better about what happened. They try and just justify your terrible reaction to said events
No, actually, they don't try to make you feel better. That is exactly not the fucking goal. And if you think it is, if you think that is how you deal with your problems, then you're a simpleton. The goal is to equip you with the tools necessary to deal with problems in healthy ways, so you can reach that state of feeling better, or at least balanced, on your own, without resorting to shit that only makes situations infinitely worse. And they don't justify your terrible reactions. They might explain them. But the point is to help you not have terrible reactions. Good ones that prevent more situations that might cause you to have further negative reactions, actions, and outcomes. You great big fuck knuckle.
Because there's only one true human emotion that should come from negative scenario, which is anger.
Oh, do fucking grow up. You sound like a goddamn 12-year-old. I bet you're the kind of prick who's super proud of himself because he could punch a hole in drywall. As if it isn't the softest material in the known universe. And I'm not trying to criticize people who've gotten upset, lost their temper, and done something stupid. Shit happens. What's important in those situations is to recognize it was an idiotic thing to do and work on yourself. And if it wasn't your wall, fucking pay for it. Obviously. But this shitheel definitely thinks it somehow doesn't make him look like he has no self-control whenever something bad happens. Again, a distinctly unmanly characteristic.
Anger is the most powerful force on planet Earth.
Okay, bet. Let's test that theory. I want you to go and get angry at an actively erupting volcano, preferably right next to it, with no way to escape. I mean, why would you? Fear can't save you. Survival instinct? What's that shit? No, you go prove what a big man you are, and let me know when you don't die. Don't worry, I'll happily wait as long as it takes. I definitely won't forget I dared you to do that immediately, getting on my life as your charred corpse turns to ash.
Someone can kill a member of your family, and you can get sad or you can get angry.
You really are such a simpleton, aren't you? As if the entire range of human emotion boils down to two fucking feelings. Not to mention, what if you didn't like that person? What if that asshole abused you your entire life? Is sending a gift basket not a perfectly reasonable response? What if it's a member of your family you simply aren't all that invested in? You might feel nothing about it. And okay, what you obviously want to mean is a person that you deeply care about. Well, first, why not both reactions? Anger and sadness are far from mutually exclusive. Not to mention that you might simply become numb, unable to feel anything. A reaction you would have literally no control over, like any other. And frankly, in this day and age, what the fuck could you do? Every online tough guy loves to pretend that they would go all John Wick, but assuming it was some rando who did it, in most circumstances, would you even know where to start finding out who the fuck it was? You ain't Batman.
You will never be Batman.
So you're gonna have to go to the police, and at that point, they ain't gonna fucking tell you where the fucker is, so you're shit out of luck there. Okay, but you could wait for them to get out of prison and do some of that old-fashioned vigilante justice. Well done. Now you're in jail for the rest of your life. I'm sure your loved one would be so fucking happy to know that you wasted the rest of your life. Not to mention other family members who were relying on you for their care. Again, letting your emotions completely control you like a wickle baby. What an absolute loser.
Angry gets something done. Sad? That's just sitting around hoping others feel sorry for you. Sad belongs in the therapy room.
Are you kidding? You have never gotten something done from feeling shit. You've never been motivated by anxiety or profound grief. This not only makes you sound extremely immature, but also that you have zero life experience, that you have never done fucking anything for any other reason than as the result of a petulant tantrum. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me.
But anger belongs out here in the world. Directed anger. Focused anger. I'm going to be misunderstood because I always am.
If a normal person with a functioning brain found out that they were always being misunderstood, they might take that to mean that their communication skills are incredibly poor, and that perhaps they should get better, that they should learn how to express their ideas in ways that are much harder to be misinterpreted from their intention. But not you. No, you're too smart for that. Being an effective orator, it is everyone else's fault that you talk like a fucking idiot. Yeah.
I'm not saying you start smashing your head against the wall like an idiot.
You say that, but I would be unsurprised if you think it's really cool when people do that. But okay, I didn't say that, and I'm pretty sure most people wouldn't. I said that there is way more to motivation and healthy responses to negative situations than getting angry about it. I mean, you desperately want to play the tough guy, but the scariest man I ever met, I never once saw him get remotely angry. He was always cool, calm, and collected, and could make you shit yourself with a glance. Had true aura. And the thing is, was also the nicest motherfucker I'd ever met. And I'm sure if he somehow became aware of your existence, he would think that you're probably the biggest wuss in the universe. Because it's always the guys who have to tell you how tough they are that are always the most insecure little bitches.
I'm saying that very much like a focused concentration of water through a dam can power a city. That is how your anger should work. You should focus it in the exact direction it needs to go to solve the problem.
You're not even describing anger. That is focus, which you can have without anger. In fact, any emotion can result in focus, even the good ones. Joy, love, desire of whiskey. All of these can equally result in someone becoming extremely effective at getting whatever task they want done. And even though anger can achieve that state, it is an incredibly emotionally and physically expensive state to be in. Adrenaline, stress, your fucking immune response is suppressed. All these things take a massive toll on your body. The idea that you want to be using that state to get things done is just incredibly inefficient. It would lead to burnout. And even if you do get things that you want done, you'll be too fucked by the time you get there to be even able to enjoy the spoils of your efforts. When, had you allowed almost any other emotion to lead you through the same path, you get your shit done and you get to reap the benefits, instead of being so out of it that the next problem requires you to go through the same tired song and dance all over again.
If you're poor, get angry. If your woman left, get angry. Don't get angry at her for leaving. Get angry at yourself for being left. Don't get angry at the world you're poor. Get angry at yourself because you can't afford all the things you want.
Angry at yourself, that's not a motivator, that's shame and guilt and self-hatred. Which, if there are worse things for actual call to actions than anger, it's those. Your entire premise isn't even get angry. It's feel the worst way that you can, that'll help. It's so fucking depressing that you have the ears of so many young men when your advice is this fucking horrible. I mean, how is anger gonna fix a fucking broken job market? How is anger going to improve your relationship skills? It's not. Again, it's only going to make those things worse in both the short and the long term.
Anger is the correct response to any emotion because anger elicits instant action.
Instant impulsive actions is not even remotely the same as correct or most effective action. Anyone who knows anything about problem solving will tell you the last thing you want to do is become any kind of emotion about a situation. But of all the feelings, anger, again, is probably the worst because it's usually the least rational. Because, you know, irrationality. That thing's great for making good decisions. Fuck me.
You know, I'm so anti-therapy, and I've had these conversations so many times with people. Their answer is that I need therapy, supposedly. If I need therapy, how come every single person on the planet knows my name?
Is it not obvious? You need therapy because you're fucking delusional. You are not nearly as famous as you think you are, although far more than you should be. And you have extremely unhealthy coping mechanisms that lead you to making poor decisions, like making this stupid fucking video and making yourself sound like a narcissistic weirdo. Anyway, counter to your ignorant theory that therapists want some kind of control over your life, which is projection if I ever did hear it, as you sit there telling other people how to live their lives. But the ultimate goal of therapy, the peak, the thing that any good therapist wants, is to give you everything that you need to take care of your own mental health without them. Basically, to never fucking see you again. Although in your case, it's to never see you in the first place because you're the fucking worst, Andrew.